What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fye, Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking about this NFL slate coming up. Did want to remind everybody to check out the packages and everything. We've got some great stuff out there. We're obviously partnered with SaberSim. We're partnered with PayDirt, and a lot of great content from them, as well as all the Sheets' projections, Goldie's projections, all of my content, all of Brandon Cruz, all of Rody's, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, with that said, I'll start off by saying I did not. I'm still have not hit my NFL stride yet, but maybe I hit it in the playoffs or something. But I'm hoping to get things going. Sheets, how are you doing? And any overall thoughts before we jump into game by game?
Well, you forgot to talk about one of our other partners at Stake Kings.
Stake Kings, yes.
And you know, if you want to get in on some of our action, you could set that up, and we're going to be coming up with new ideas of how to give access to just people who are PXF. Listen to me, TrueDFS subs.
Yeah.
And we're working on that because
yeah, we made some progress, and I was going to let you know. I forgot to let you know before the show, but yeah, we should have that set up as an extension of our site probably in the next week or so.
Right.
There was a few little technical difficulties, but we're on our way. Yeah.
Okay. So so it's another smaller slate because of the presence of all the auxiliary games. There's the Thursday game, that's the Philly Giants, then the Sunday morning game from overseas, that's Denver Jets, and then there are two Monday night games. One of them I think is Washington, and the other one, ooh, damn it, I forget what the other one is, but nonetheless, then there's 10-game regular. So what's the second game on Monday besides?
It just escaped me because I haven't looked into that part yet. I'm just looking at it right now on the shout out to the Roto Grinders Planet page, just because I like it better than the regular one. Let me see. It is the second. The Bills and Falcons. Good games.
Falcons. Okay.
As usual, that we don't get the good games. A great game on Sunday night and great games on Monday, and we don't get any of them.
What's the Sunday night game?
That's Arizona. I'm sorry, Kansas City, Detroit.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's a good one.
Amazing game. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like a must win. Well, not a must win, but it's a Kansas City needs to win, obviously.
Yep. Where is that game?
What's that?
Where is that game?
That game is, I believe, in Kansas City. Yeah.
Okay.
I did want to note one thing right off the bat that jumped out to me about and look, it's early in the week, but this ownership is going to stay the same-ish on some of these guys, and Puka and McCaffrey will be two of them. I think this ownership, like I'm just going to tell you right now, there's no way I'm playing this much McCaffrey on Sunday. Now late swap might get me, where I have the money and I'm crushing. But as I said, if you want to use running backs against Tampa Bay, McCaffrey is the kind you want. He and Bijan. But your ceiling is so capped with how good they are against the run. I mention that every week. So when potentially the highest owned player may come again as a running back against that Tampa Bay team, I'm kind of inclined to make one big fade there. And never fun to fade McCaffrey, and there's many ways you can get there as a wide out and stuff. So he's not going to be as limited as some of these other running backs who face Tampa Bay, but it is. I've been saying this for a while, and again, it's been true for years. Be careful with those running backs against Tampa Bay.
I tell you, I really like this early look because I really haven't run my projections yet, so I'm really going to get my first look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the next time you'll see me will be on Sunday. I'll probably pipe in from where I am, and we'll go over the late stuff. But I like to get a kind of an early, unbiased look at all this stuff. So, like the first game, I'd actually heard some. I guess it's not the case. Some weird rumors that Lamar had a chance to play this week. I guess that I guess the line wouldn't be 9 or whatever if that were the case. So that would be an interesting spot for him to come back. I don't think that he would be ready, but
if he's back, that game just jumps to the front of the list, right? Of being the best game on the slate, the best tournament, the DFS game, right? Definitely the best real life game, but probably the best tournament game too, right?
Depends. Maybe Baltimore's awful. I mean, it's we don't know.
Still, though, the Rams, but you think that the game would stay more in, may not turn into Houston and Baltimore.
Well, instinctively, the first thing I would say about this game is that, I mean, for all that Lamar has been, out, whatever, I think the bigger problem is Baltimore's defense. Not to say that. I mean, obviously the big problem is Lamar, but Baltimore got rolled got stomped by a team who scores no points last week.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Houstonized, and nobody gets Houstonized.
Right.
And so that's not good. And especially it's not good against a team that's I would hope is really mad, the Rams from what happened against San Francisco and Philadelphia for that matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this is a very, very bad place for Baltimore's defense to be right now. And I think that the Rams are, without even getting to the other games yet, have to be like, I mean, even look at the team total is good enough. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be a huge priority. I mean, pretty much all positions. You know what I mean? But Stafford and Williams and Nakua and Adams, I think they're all remarkably in play. And I hate to say this, but unless Lamar is playing, I don't want anybody from the Baltimore side. I just don't.
Yeah, I get it. This feels very much like a stacking the Rams and hammer stack. And early, like, again, the ownership, the projections are going to change a little bit. I don't expect Devontae Adams to be unowned. I actually think he's a terrific tournament play this week. That's the way you can get different with the Rams. Yeah. I don't think you need to even play Stafford. You can just play one of those guys in Kyren Williams. Now, ordinarily, I would say be careful with Kyren Williams after a week where he basically cost them the game with fumbling at the goal line. Except for Blake Corum also fumbled in the first half in a similar situation. So they don't really have like another thing to turn to. So I think you see the Rams put their best foot forward. I like everything, including the Rams defense. You could use a stack with their defense even. I think this could be a really ugly situation. I have to just say that because he's going to get the work, I don't mind a couple shots at Derrick Henry or Zay Flowers. Cooper Rush was, look, he's not good, but he's not as bad as last week might indicate. That would just be my take. So those would be the two guys on. I think Derrick Henry is a reasonable guy to take a shot on because he can always break. He breaks one big play and then he has his normal, other 30 yards and a touchdown. You get 100 plus and 2 touchdowns. That feels very much possible to me, even in a blowout. Sort of a la Jamar Chase last week, who put up a huge game in like the last 6 minutes. Maybe it wouldn't be the last 6 minutes for Henry, but it would happen anyway.
I'm going to tell you something. One thing that I'm figuring out about this slate pretty quickly before we even get to the later games is that unlike the most recent couple of slates where we've expected everything to come out of the late games, it's a lot of early game stuff this week. Starting with this next bit of business.
Your favorite thing. You light up every time the Miami comes on screen because I know you.
I love it every time Miami comes on screen, especially when the Chargers have no running backs.
Mm-hmm.
They have no what's his name Hampton, and this is not, to my opinion, this is not the spot to take a shot with like your favorite of these Chargers running backs, whoever they are.
Yeah. I think I like whether Haskins or Vidal.
To me, this is the freaking Herbert show, and excuse me, but if Saber Sim is going to pretend to offer me a like 6% ownership, 5% ownership on Quentin Johnston, that is going to be that will be obtained by me. But all these receivers are less than 6K, and with no running backs, and with the Miami defense being what it is, I mean, let her roll. And then on the Miami side, even just as a run back, I mean, Jalen Waddle seems fine to me. You want to take another shot at Malik Washington. Malik Washington, I think, had like 6 receptions for no yards last week or something. That was kind of strange.
But they were looking for him on those little screenplays.
I would try that again. And listen, you go right back to A-Chain or whatever. He was kind of pedestrian game, but I think the game script will be good for Miami. I think this whole game can freaking – now listen, Chargers defense is good, whatever, but Chargers aren't going to care too much about giving stuff up if they're up 28-10 or something like that. So I think this game is an amazing spot.
Yeah, we got the big Waddle game last week. I'm curious to see how this one goes. I agree with you that also forget these. I don't understand what the hell these numbers are. Quentin Johnston can every single game. He's got a lower projection than the other guys. I would have been very right with my Lad McConkey call, but he had that big touchdown taken back, man. Because he had a decent game anyway. But Yeah, you got to like the Chargers passing game. I agree with you about the running backs, unless we do hear coach speak. This Vidal, I always was a little bit impressed with as a backup. Haskins, I think, has some talent too. So if you heard something, I do think you can obviously run the ball on Miami. It just, I don't know who it's going to be, and it feels like we have other cheap running backs where we feel more decided about what their results going to be. This ownership on A-Chain, I think, is too high. Now I might be wrong because he might just catch like 10 passes for like 20 yards, and then it ends up getting in the end zone. But I do think it's a little too high for A-Chain. I'm sort of surprised that no one's going to Waddle or Waller. I mean, hello,
yeah, right.
Right. Darren Waller doesn't need to play that much, but when he's been on the field, he's been dominant. I think these guys are interesting, and I like going back to Malik Washington. I'm totally open to this game as an interesting stack. I worry that the Chargers defense. Look, again, last week it was a tough week. I was more impressed with Washington than I was down on the Chargers last week. Not going into the game. I was shocked at how well Washington played. I thought that was one of the better wins of the season. They just looked terrific to me, and it looked like Jaden from the playoffs last year. But beware, it might be a little bit harder for Miami to move the ball against this Charger defense. The Chargers defense is really fast. Miami's offense has gotten very slow and stagnant. Again, I keep telling I'm going to talk myself into Malik Washington in a big way by the end of the week. All right, we can move over to, again, and all these games I can make an argument for being the game to go after, right? But none of the ones yet have been like my favorite, but they're all good, right? What do you like here?
I think this game could go crazy. I really do. I think this Arizona game can go nuts. Now, Indianapolis is certainly finding a really good time to play Arizona because Arizona is coming off of that complete horror show.
So is that a good time or a bad time?
It's a good time in perception. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for you know the way I roll. I mean, I think Arizona plays well. I think they bounce back, and Indianapolis is just all. This is like the perfect opportunity for Indianapolis to let down and finally put up not a great game. Okay,
they play great every week, right?
That's what I'm saying. They've done nothing but put up great games every week. That's what we talked about this before. It doesn't work that way in the NFL. Every team has a couple of dud games, and this is probably going to be the one.
And also, this is the battle of the fumble at the goal line.
That's true. The Adonai Mitchell versus.
Shouldn't we play Mitchell and DeMercado and just like the sheet style? Hey, let's play both those guys.
Dude, I would have no problem playing a DeMercado lineup for vibes. I mean, that'd be so awesome. And then have him hug the coach at the end of the game. So
right.
So same deal I feel about Arizona as last week, except, I was actually, now we didn't smash or anything, but I really didn't think Michael Carter would get all the run that he got. Every time I looked at him, it looked like he was getting the ball. Maybe I was just hallucinating or whatever. But this game is in a dome. I think that either, I hate to put it this way, but it's either 30-0 and the game sort of busts, except for like Jonathan Taylor, or this game could go a little bit ballistic, and then you get the Trey McBrides and I know you don't like him, but in the Marvin Harrisons of the world or whatever it is.
I don't like him. I just am very disappointed in him.
You don't like watching him play. I know.
Yeah.
I get it. But then listen, for the Colts, I mean, you have same guys as usual, and you're not exactly sure which ones they are. Who's going to have the better game. Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, he can get there. But Jonathan Taylor, I mean, like he's good. You know what I mean? He's got an incredible workload. They have a great game script for him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think he's just as good of a play, if not better, than A-Chain, honestly. Just because of the way the game is supposed to go. Well, actually, the A-Chain works the other way too, so he can get some stuff too. But anyway, I think Taylor is an elite play pretty much every week until further notice. So it's going to be Taylor, and then I have a hankering of making some freaking game stack out of this.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm interested as well. I actually think that if you're going to play it, playing the Kyler Murray side is the interesting way to go because You're going to get look at this ownership difference between he and Daniel Jones. And
yeah.
if Arizona's to win this game, you got to imagine it's one of the vintage Kyler games. And we always know he can scramble for a 50-yard touchdown at any time. You have possibly the two best tight ends now that we don't have Bowers playing right now. But with McBride and Warren, certainly a lot to like. I would not write off a shot, with Josh Downs. I guess it's not even a shot anymore. He's getting plenty of work. The sneaky one I had from this game was Michael Wilson. And I also don't mind the idea at some point of going back to Adonai Mitchell because I believe the talent is there for what it's worth. But I don't know if this is the right time. Maybe it's the perfect time, to be honest with you. I don't know, but that TBD on that one for me.
So I've got kind of sort of a contrarian take. Like
you hate this game
on this next game. Yeah. So I know that Justin Fields garbage time bailed all the Justin Fields people out at the end. Okay. But my take on that game was right. Okay. Neither of these teams wanted to play fast, the Dallas and the Jets. Okay. They did nothing. They wanted to pound Dallas wanted to pound the rock. Everybody wanted to pound the rock. Dallas has no receivers. They have no CeeDee Lamb, okay? So they don't want to play fast. Oh, I'm sorry. They have Pickens. He's very good, whatever. But to be honest, like Javonte Williams is the freaking guy they want with the ball, believe it or not.
He's been crushing it.
Yeah, just so that's kind of what they want. I know it's easy to say, well, let's just like target Dallas, but just hold on a second here. It's like what I said about the Jets. It's not as if the Jets had this incredible offense that can take advantage of it. And I'm not. Listen, I know it's nice and fashionable to say just whoever Dallas is playing, and you see little signs out of Bryce Young from time to time, and that receiver obviously is really good. Whatever. But I wouldn't get so crazy freaking stacking this game. That's kind of the way I'm thinking about this.
Just to your point, I think when running backs look this good on both sides, and you don't expect the pace to be overly fast, I kind of agree with just that as a general strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I like both the running backs, honestly. I like Javonte Williams and I like Rico Dowdle. And I would listen. I don't know where ownership's going to go. It's freaking Wednesday, right? I haven't looked at anything yet. Now I'm looking at Rico Dowdle, 28%. That's kind of rough, but I don't think I would stack the game and expect these quarterbacks to really do all that much.
It's also a little Dowdle revenge against Dallas.
It is. That's sure. Dude, that's
didn't let him play there enough. You're going to get a lot of this. This game stood out to be clearly the game where I think everyone's going to target. I'll just say some plays that are not going to be high owned. I think George Pickens at low ownership is really interesting. I don't really understand the logic of why he's low owned. I think Tommy Tremble is an awesome tournament play. Now, as I said last week, that I thought it was going to be an all running back or an all tight end slate, and it ended up sort of being a combination. Did you notice it? Like, I think of the first 18 touchdowns, 12 of them were by tight ends or something crazy like that last week. It was just a tight ends going nuts week. And we've already named a bunch of good ones. I think this is another tight end in the utility week, maybe for me. I love Ferguson and I love Tremble as the cheap tight end. So I'm very interested in that part of this game. The running backs, just because the ownership, I probably look to get underweight, even though the spot, you can't argue with how good of a spot this is. The thing that's crazy to me is that I don't know why Javonte Williams is 6,400. Like, based on the numbers, he should be 7,800 or 8K or something, right? With those other guys. Like, he's putting up every bit as good as they've been so far this season. Bryce Young in double-digit ownership. We'll see if that actually holds. That's very weird.
Someone else can play that. I mean,
give me, but I would take some shots with Dak to Ferguson and Pickens or something like that.
Sure.
But again, you're not going to be getting off the board with that game at all, unfortunately.
Okay.
Except for those plays I mentioned were a little bit low.
So we're going to get to the next game, and we'll recall that last week, I thought the Saints were going to beat the Giants. I thought the Saints were a good play. I thought that, and I compared specifically the Saints-Giants game to the Dallas-Jets game with respect to the pace that we thought the game was going to be played at, okay? And where I thought Dallas and Jets were going to play slower than people thought, these Saints are no freaking joke when it comes to, like, ramping up the freaking tempo. And I don't know, you probably didn't watch it because it was a stupid Giant Saints game.
Oh, I did. No, you know why? Because I had Rattler. I had a few 555s, and Rattler was in one of them.
Because that first half was like a blur. You know, like they were going, everybody's going, like the Giants scored 2 touchdowns in like 5 seconds. The Saints didn't give an F. They came right back. It was like 16-14 at the freaking half. And the Giants were the ones that couldn't keep pace at the end of the day. And then 1 pick six, and then basically the game was over, you know? But I have, first of all, I would like to say, I think the Saints win another one. I think it's a perfect letdown spot for New England coming off the Buffalo win where Drake May was anointed like the next coming of Christ, you know?
Right.
So I really think it's like the exact perfect spot for the New England to go into Buffalo and get the huge win. They have to go all the way down to New Orleans and play there in a fast-paced game. I think New Orleans wins this game, and I also go right back to these New Orleans guys again. Okay, to the Rattlers and the Olaves and the Shaheeds and all these characters. Okay, I would go right back to that. And we'll see where ownership comes. I'm sure no one's going to play him. I would imagine not, right? I mean, New England controlled Buffalo. How are the Saints going to do anything? I guess. So I like that a lot. I want to shout, I guess, you out for something, and I tweeted this out as well. Not calling you out for anything, but again, I know you can't quantify stuff sometimes, but for people that believe that there's not something to, like the motivation behind some of these freaking players when they go to certain spots, I just encourage everybody to rewatch the Stephon Diggs game from last week.
Yeah.
Going into Buffalo. First of all, he was on the field for like only 35% of the routes. Okay? Like he got like no run, really. And every single time he was on the field, he like caught a ball in amazing fashion, totally took control of the whole freaking game. So I don't want to hear it, okay, about that kind of stuff.
I agree.
Seen it too often, especially in a game where that little extra effort actually might mean something. It's not like baseball or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you're going to play the same regardless.
No.
But so in any case, I don't know if I would go back to Diggs or anybody like that if I was going to stack the game, but maybe I would. I don't know. But I definitely like the Saints this week.
I think it's interesting. And by the way, I think you're on to something with like this is a game where I actually thought that the Patriots would be favored by like 7, even on the road, and they're favored by 3. Okay,
there'd be a reason, right?
So there is definitely some things going your way with that idea. I personally like. I think that you're getting some exposure in this game in a lot of ways. Like Olave, I just like this Shaheed play. You got the, you're gonna get it all more on a couple plays rather than like 10 catches by Olave. But there's so much ceiling there, and it's so much lower ownership. I guess I would just say it. Shaheed and Hunter Henry would be the 2 guys I'd be looking at. Remember, Theo Johnson just was the one guy for the Giants who was having a big game against this New Orleans team. Why can't we play Hunter Henry, who Tom Brady called the greatest Patriots?
That's great. That's funny.
To Gronk's face. Yeah. I know he was joking, but still I thought it was funny. But yeah, I can get on board with this game for sure. And Juwan Johnson, bad week last week. I don't mind going right back to him as well at low ownership. So those are the low owned guys that I'm not going to like force Diggs into my lineup. If he ends up in a few, he does. I don't love that play. That's where I'm at.
All right, let me go talk about the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game.
Do it.
So this is a rough spot, okay, for Cleveland. I mean, they're coming off of
I know what's coming, Sheets. I know what you're going to say.
They're coming off a game in London on short rest against Steelers who are coming off of a bye. Very, very tough spot for Cleveland. Very, very low total. The team shipped off quarterback. I mean, not that he was going to do anything, whatever. I thought that what's his name was actually okay. The quarterback for Cleveland, the Dylan Gabriel. I mean, it wasn't like he's not going to win any playoff games or anything. But I thought he was okay. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think that Cleveland's defense is good enough to keep me from playing Pittsburgh. And I know it's definitely, and we have talked about this since then, but it's a tough spot and all that stuff. But maybe not today. But that dude for freaking Cleveland is the fucking truth. I mean, that guy's really good. The Judkins.
I'm in with you on that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can play him in this. It's just a really, really tough spot. But in general, I do like him, and so I'm probably off of probably pretty much most of this.
I don't know if I read it right, but I believe that all the Pittsburgh games so far have hit the over by quite a bit. Which just has me a little bit more. I just think the Judkins is really the one play I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
I don't really want anything else, but I do think Judkins, there's enough upside. I think if you wanted to force me into thinking about another play, it'd be DK Metcalf.
Well, dude, who else is good? By the way, that tight end is good for both of them for Cleveland, actually. I mean, the Joker was obviously awesome last week, but even this Fannin guy's okay. I mean,
Fannon's going to be good, yeah. It's just hard with them splitting, you know, and but I think that basically, like, I actually want to make a better case for DK Metcalf because I do think he's going to end up being a high pick for me. This team loves to play man coverage, the Browns, and they do it well. But if you're going to try and play man coverage against that guy, and Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball to him,
that's a long day.
I like the Metcalf a lot in this spot. It's really weird. Sometimes with really good defenses, you have to play like the stud guys because if they're good enough to be able to cover him one-on-one, they're going to try, and that means Rodgers is going to try and hit him deep a couple times. That's all I need. You need to just have the opportunity. All right, we move over to Seattle at Jacksonville. I like both of these teams a ton. I love them coming into the season, and you know they both are off to good starts. Tough loss for Seattle last week, but I don't think they played poorly. I just think that it was awesome Baker Day, and they had trouble stopping Ibuka. But really good teams here. This is another game at low ownership that I think I'm going to be all over. What do you like here, Sheets?
Yeah, Seattle was fine. I mean, they had the ball tied with at their own 38 with 2 minutes to go. They were minus 300 to win, and then Darnold threw the interception or something like that. It was a fumble, something like that. There was some turnover, and then Tampa scored the field goal. That's it. Mm-hmm. Good game. I mean, very even game, like pretty much the whole time. They actually did a pretty decent job running the ball against Tampa. I mean, obviously no one really does that much against them, but they did a decent enough job.
They did.
Jacksonville, you know, they put on they had a very nice game against Kansas City. The other thing that I found really noticeable was I was looking at some articles and stuff that for whatever reason, like Sam Darnold has like one of the top 3 like overall quarterback metrics in like the whole league this year.
He looks, his numbers have been incredible. I mean, his actual like advanced analytics stuff is everywhere. Yeah.
And what's interesting is that you've been saying this for like years. Like everybody in the NFL, nobody likes Sam Darnold except everybody in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think this game could definitely deliver. But the only thing I would say is that I think that both of these defenses are actually pretty sneaky. You know, I think Seattle's defense is obviously really good. Mm-hmm. I think Jacksonville's defense is really good too. Mm-hmm. So if you tell me it's going to be low and sure, I'd fire this off. 47 total seems pretty reasonable. I'll probably get some of this.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in here. You have another tight end that's 2,500 that's in play at Hunter Long with no Brenton Strange. I don't know that I'm going to end up wanting that. I think I prefer the Tommy Tremble play. I just want to throw that out there as a, Strange is a guy who I'm very high on for the Jags, and he's not going to be available. So Trevor Lawrence is too cheap. Brian Thomas is going to have a breakout game soon.
Yep.
And the other guy who's going to break out, and this is the weirdest narrative. It depends on literally what you look at on Twitter, on any sort of feed. The talk around Travis Hunter coming into like last week's the Monday night game was as if, he can't do anything in the NFL. He's got all this. And it's not like he had this like insane game. He made 2 spectacular plays on offense and 2 great plays on defense. I think that he's also on the verge of breaking out as well. He might end up being their best receiver in 2 years. I mean, I'm so high on Travis Hunter. I just don't know which position he should be more of. I really don't. But I kind of like the idea of just getting too much exposure to this game. And I don't think that Smith, I guess because he's close in price to Nakua, but I think Smith and Jigba just every week, like you got to just be like somewhere near or above. He just gets so much work. And it's all kinds of work too. I also like Cooper Kupp here. So I'm kind of in on this game as being there's 2 afternoon games that are very, very close for me, and this is one of them.
And again, just to reiterate what we said going into the week also proved to be the case. I mean, this this running back thing for Seattle is just a timeshare. I mean, that's just all it is. I mean, it's both Walker and Charbonnet, and I don't think you play either of them like for a while.
Yeah, I think Walker's the main one for them, but they're going to give Charbonnet looks. It's just going to happen.
And I'll tell you what, if you have a healthy, what's his name? Just an observation. I mean, Travis Etienne hasn't been healthy in like a long time. He looks really good this year.
Last week, on Monday, they were using Tootin though quite a bit as well.
That's true.
I finally got my Parker Washington play right, and that one, I don't think I can carry it on to the.
He was like 8% owned in Showdown.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I actually I thought he was like the perfect Showdown. Like some of those guys just stand out. Like he and Mim. He was my guy this week, but I mean, it's not like he had a huge game, but he didn't need to.
Okay, so there's 3 afternoon games. 2 of them could be really, really ugly, and one of them could be pretty cool. Well, let's just talk about it. So, let's look at the Tennessee Raiders. So there's 2 realities here. Like one reality is that Tennessee, they got their win, they fought back, they got their W. Cam Young, proving a little bit. It could be a close game, whatever. But there's another variation where DeMarcano does not drop the ball, and then it's like ends up probably being like 40-0 or 40-6.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tennessee is like a 14-point underdog and doing nothing. Okay, so I am not into really anything from Tennessee at all in this game. For Las Vegas, you can go right back to Gianti again. You could take another shot with Jacoby Myers. Maybe one day he gets there. I have no idea. And Bowers, I presume, is still out. So probably Gente. This is going to be probably popular, but Gente, Vegas defense, something like that.
Yeah. Vegas defense is going to be the highest owned defense we've seen this season, I think.
Are they under 3K?
No, they're 32, but it's Tennessee.
Okay.
This, I don't know. I'm struggling. This game is the hardest one. I don't like taking Tennessee's another team that I'd rather play the passing game than the running game against, but I don't really want to play the passing game too much. I guess I'll get probably more than the field on Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers, and probably below the field on Gente, below the field on the Raiders defense, just because it's so highly owned. I think that there's an argument to take a shot for one of the Tennessee wide receivers. I just can't believe we can't find anything to do against this Vegas team. I honestly don't know what it is, but I think every week it's like somebody goes nuts against this team. At least Ridley and Ayomanar are probably the highest level of interest for me. Are they going to just keep running Tony Pollard full time? I don't think we're going to get there, but it just was trying to. It feels like it's weird when every week all we've done is play everybody against the Raiders, and now we're not going to play anybody just because it's a weaker team. I think we probably should look at somebody from Tennessee. I just don't know who it is yet. Ayamanar is probably my favorite, just barely ahead of Ridley.
All right, now this might be some sound ignorant or whatever it is, but I'll say it now. It's Wednesday. I can change my mind or whatever. But okay, so Cincinnati for some reason traded for Joe Flacco, okay, or picked up Joe Flacco. He's 4K, and I'll put it to you. I'll put it to you this way, okay. If you guys want to play Joe Flacco, if he's 1,200, I don't care. If you want to play Joe Flacco against Micah Parsons and Green Bay, coming off of a bye, coming off of a loss, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
In Green Bay, good luck.
No, they coming off of a loss to Joe Flacco in Cleveland.
Right. I mean,
that's pretty wild.
Good luck to you. You know what I mean? Like, and listen, he's got. Excuse me. With no playbook prep. You know what I mean? Like with no idea of what the plays are, but he's coming rolling out and starting them. You know what I mean? He's got the weapons, sure, and he might throw it up there to them. It feels to me like 5 sacks and 4 interceptions, but they're gonna do it. Everybody's going to play Joe Flacco because they love Joe Flacco and they love 4K, and it's a perfect situation. And even you just said, I mean, they already beat him. So I don't think I could do it. I think it's going to be I'm going to be like the OK Boomer and play Josh Jacobs, for Green Bay to run out to get his third touchdown to make it 40-0 or something like that. That's my opinion. But what are you doing? Are you doing
it? Well, let me ask you. I didn't see this anywhere, but I can't imagine there was ever a time where like one quarterback faced a team 2 consecutive weeks against the team. I mean, it's not consecutive weeks, but it's 2 consecutive games.
Not possible.
It happened.
Well, it will happen in the playoffs, maybe.
But like in the rate, like I mean, because it's just so wild. Like,
no, yeah.
I don't know. Like, this is not a great matchup. All I can say is I'll take some shots on Joe Flacco at some points for sure.
All right.
Okay. You the guy who's willing to throw it out there, and you've got Jamar Chase. I don't care if he'll throw it into double coverage, which is exactly what I want if I'm going to play Jamar Chase. Why would Jamar Chase be lower on this week than last week, other than his similar ish price to Nakua, which it kind of was last week too? I don't know why we wouldn't go back and play Jamar Chase. I also think T. Higgins is totally in play here. Whether or not I want to use Flacco, he's not like he's 4K, but it's 5,100 to get to, Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
It's not like there's a huge savings, or do we even need it? But maybe I could talk myself into it. And for what it's worth, I'll just point out that Micah Parsons has 4 tackles on the season. I think this Green Bay, we may have anointed their defense dynamic without any real reason. Way too fast. I mean, they just gave up 40 points in their last game.
They did.
So that was the other last game. Oh, yeah. So I guess it wasn't 2 weeks in a row. I guess there was 1 week in between because they played Dallas.
This is a team that's going to have a 16-point total that's going to get ownership. That's what's going to happen, right?
But the only ones who are going to get ownership are probably the running back and Chase, right? I don't think people are going to play Flacco.
Oh, yeah.
You think so?
It's 4K, and he's 4K at everybody's.
Yeah, but they made all the other quarterbacks like 5K.
He's everybody's favorite quarterback in DFS history, except for Jameis Winston. Like the 2 of these guys. I mean,
he is one. Yeah.
Right? Because he's perfect. He's perfect. He doesn't.
What did he do for that Ravens team that they won the Super Bowl? He would just lob it up and have those guys run down.
He doesn't give an F. He's a DFS hero. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, we love him.
Now, San Francisco, Tampa.
I just have to throw real quickly my take on the Green Bay side.
Good.
I do think that I'm surprised by Josh Jacobs being like not clear like number 1. That's where I'm at. I thought that he was like ahead of all the other guys who are more expensive than him.
I agree.
I just think he's a great play. I also think that obviously the Packers defense with huge upside, but there's just so many defenses with upside this week.
Yep.
The one that's interesting to me, if I was going to play anything else, would be Tucker Kraft. But again, just loaded at tight end this week. But Tucker Kraft is certainly a guy who can put up some numbers. I think he's a really solid tight end. And look, there's a lot of them. That's just the way it is now. All right, sorry, go ahead, Sheets. Talk to San Francisco.
Yeah, I think this is a very, very difficult spot for San Francisco. Listen, props, and we discussed this at length also Monday, after the game. They were given no chance with all the injuries last week against the Rams, and Shanahan is like, he's one of the best. You know what I mean? He got it. He got something together, whatever it is, and put together a great short passing game plan for Mac Jones. Okay, and Mac Jones showed incredible toughness in whatever it is. I don't know, to put another one together like that is just kind of tough. So I don't think I'm going to go back to San Francisco, guys. And as a matter of fact, kind of with you on this. Like, if this were old school, I might even X out McCaffrey, like for all the reasons that you mentioned. You just listen, like you said, if I'm going to fade him, okay, if you're going to play him, you can't just rely on the receptions, okay, right, at his price and his ownership. You can't just say, well, if he doesn't get their running, he'll get the receiving. No, it's not that easy. You gotta really get both going at that price and that ownership. And like you said, you just can't do that against Tampa. And it's probably, I want to say it's a slow pace game, but San Francisco usually does play kind of a slow pace game anyway.
But at 8,400, don't you just absolutely need 30, right?
Yeah. When's the last time someone got 30 against Tampa? Like ever?
Right, exactly. And that's where I'm at too.
Yeah. So I'm probably off the San Francisco side. And as far as Tampa goes, I don't know if Bucky Irving is going to be playing or not. It looks like he's not, right? He's projected for 0. So Rashad White still looks like the same good play I thought he was last week. You know what I mean? With getting most of the work or whatever. But talk about the truth. I mean, what do you do? I mean, Ibuka is like the best, right? I mean, the guys.
I don't even understand this ownership project. Like, what are we talking about here?
I mean, it's not like who's going to go? Like, is Ronnie Lott back or something like that? I mean, like, right. I mean, seriously, like, what? I mean, the guy's insane. And Baker's slinging it all over the freaking place. I mean, why don't you just play Ibuka like every day? I mean, like,
I agree. I have Ibuka as one of my notes of plays that I really like.
2%? No.
Yeah, I'm just not buying that. I also do think that Godwin, and he's expensive now. That's partly why, but I think Godwin at some point has a game one of these days. I really do. I actually don't even know what he ended up with us. So he might have even had a game. The Rashad White disownership. I just think there's other things. Like, I mean, again, I'm saying that about a lot of running backs, but there's a lot of good, reasonable running backs that are all going to be 20-ish% owned. And I would just look. I know they're different prices, but I would try to prioritize like Kyron Williams and Josh Jacobs rather than a lot of these other guys we're talking about. Personally, I do think that White is totally fine on his face. He's a cheap play, worth it. I understand it. I also just want to point out, like, I understand that it's a tough spot for San Francisco, but like, when Tampa Bay hasn't beaten anybody, not in the last second. So I don't know that this game doesn't stay close. And if it doesn't stay close for McCaffrey, I'm just trying to look at the wide receivers. I think what I would say is if they're a go, I think I would take Pearsall over Jennings. And if for any reason they're not a go, or maybe even if they are, I mean, did you see Kendrick Bourne last week against the Rams? He looked like the guy who was supposed to be when he came in the league. He's a big guy. He had 10 catches for 130 yards or whatever. I know he didn't get in the end zone, but who cares? So I'm interested in the I'm interested in both. I'm interested in both passing games, maybe a little bit more than the field, but overall, nothing that's that crazy. As I mentioned, I think Dallas, Carolina, just sort of to sum up my stack size. Dallas, Carolina, Chargers, Miami, but mostly the Chargers. Rams, onslaught. Indy, Arizona, but I like Indy especially. Seattle, Jacksonville is a game I can get on board with. And then I think the decisions are going to be like, why don't we play these other running backs? I guess that's sort of my take, is that of the highest owned running backs this week that I'm looking at, I like the guys just beneath them, I think, as much or better. Like, I prefer Taylor above these other above McCaffrey, if they end up similarly owned. Over A-Chain, at a little bit cheaper, I think you can play Kyron Williams and Josh Jacobs, just a little bit lower ownership. It's not like crazy. And then I love the Judkins play. I want to be ahead on this. Yeah. It may not work this week, but I think I'm going to try it this week. So, and then super long shot, Derrick Henry is and I just want to remind everybody, all these tight end plays, I think it's a really strong tight end week personally. I love Tommy Tremble. I love Tyler Warren. I love Ferguson. I love McBride. I really like Waller. I like Juwan Johnson, who no one's going to play. It's going to be weird now with Taysom Hill back. That's going to, perception is they're not going to throw it to him. I don't think that's going to be the case entirely. So, by the way, what do we have for Taysom Hill this week? What did they make him?
Is he a tight end, you mean?
I mean, shouldn't we occasionally try this?
No,
I just had a strong tight end.
He's not a tight end, is he?
What? He's a tight end.
Oh, he is a tight end?
So, I mean, they ran him at quarterback last week after coming off of whatever. It might be worth taking a look. If I didn't like tight end so much this week, I would be talking up Taysom Hill. But we know what happens. Every now and then he has that 35 fantasy point game, and he costs.
Hey, is it time to play Michael Mayer?
I just don't. Again, too many tight ends this week, and again, a quarterback who never throws the ball to a tight end in Geno. But I considered it. I just like Tommy Tremble and the other ones more, and I think that I like the idea of Juwan Johnson I mean, dude, like the Taysom Hill thing, like he's probably going to get a goal line. He's $3K.
So here's my summary. So there's a lot of high upside receivers this week. I mean, you have Nakua against a weak Baltimore team. You have a couple of Chargers guys like Quentin Johnston over there. Not so much the Arizona. Not so much I guess the Carolina guys like pretty good. Talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba, like he's high upside guy. Ibuka, very high upside guy. The end of the day, I'll probably be there Sunday morning to reinforce this. You're gonna have to have like people tackle me and headlock me to stop me from being all kinds of Chris Olave this week.
Okay.
I really am a believer in this situation, he's. I think that's a very, very strong.
You know what happens? Here's what happens this week. Spencer Rattler gets like a high ankle sprain in the first quarter. Taysom Hill comes in and plays quarterback and throws 2 touchdowns to Chris Olave.
Oh my God!
You have him at tight end. How about that?
How about them apples?
That's. I mean, look, it could happen. He's gonna play. He had 6 carries last week. I'll take a tight end that gets me 6 carries near the goal line.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't get there. All right, man. Well, this was fun. Well, it'll be a fun week. I hope you have a great trip with Matt out in Vegas. Obviously, we'll be talking on Sunday, but enjoy your time out there. Anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Who scored here? Seattle's up 1-0. Naylor with the double, and Sanzone knocks him in at 5%.
Okay, cool. Canzone is in my biggest buy-in, so that's good.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Good luck, man. Have a good day. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys on Sunday.